Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm going to be taking a look at a little horror film from 1977. A horror film that has a very interesting history to it. Tonight's film is called Deathbed, The Bed That Eats. And according to what I've read and according to what I've been told by a few people, the film was made back in 1977 and was never officially released. What happened essentially was that copies of it were leaked around 1979, like 1980, and the film has generated a small cult following. And the director, who had completely forgotten that he had made the film, decided to finally release it in 2003 on DVD. So that means that this thing was technically shelved for 26 years. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I am going to find out. I am really curious if this film is any good. I mean, well, first of all, guys, I'm going to tell you that beyond the title, the year, and that little bit of history, I know nothing else about this film. I haven't seen a single clip. I haven't seen a trailer. The only thing I know, and this is just me basing goofy shit off of the title, is that it's a film about a bed that eats people. I'm just going to assume that. It seems to make the most sense to me. So, I'm really curious if this thing's going to be any good. I would love this thing to be fantastic. I really would. So, without further ado, folks, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Deathbed, The Bed That Eats. Okay, so this bed will not eat an apple core. That's a little odd. Plus I find it a little bit interesting how it takes in its meals by basically spurting out ugly yellow foam. It's kind of nasty looking, really. Okay, this is really starting to bother me. The closest thing this film has to a narrator is this artist who's trapped in his painting of the bed. That's him talking right now. I want to know how the fuck he got into the painting. I really hope that they attempt to explain this. Otherwise, I'm probably going to get a little bit pissed because it's something that should really be explained. So instead of just eating her, the bed's going to use her necklace chain and kind of saw her head off. Is that what I'm to understand from this? I mean, that actually is like really fucked up, but I didn't know that the bed could do this. Then again, though, I didn't know that. I actually didn't even know that the bed could do much of anything. Okay. So if they move the bed outside, and the bed ate the people that put it outside, how the fuck did it get back into the basement so many years later? And they're not going to tell us how! That is bullshit, man. Wait a minute. This song was featured in Faces of Death. Yeah. Holy shit. I never thought I would be fucking shocked by a musical choice in a film. That's kind of odd. I am willing to say that that was quite possibly one of the most messed up dreams I've ever seen in any low-budget film. That was... The fuck did I just watch? Lesson learned, you cannot stab the bed. Well, actually you can, but apparently it doesn't really take, and you're probably going to lose your hands. That's... Actually, this is actually kind of sick, Damn. Thank God. The end. I never thought I'd be so happy to see the words "The End" show up on a screen. Dear God, that film was just... Jesus God, kind of falling asleep here. I'm probably gonna have to use my own fucking bed in a few minutes. Okay, why don't I get through the review of this. First of all, I would like to say that earlier I believe I said that it's normally a bad sign when a film is shelved for 26 years. Yeah, it is. Normally if it hasn't officially seen the light of day in over 20 years, it's best to just leave it that way. This film was just, oh my god. Well, just allow me to say this. The acting is complete shit. The camera work is horrible. Excuse me. Oh. This really should be a hint as to how boring this fucking thing is. I don't think I've ever yawned during any of these. And you guys are probably yawning too now because of that whole, who cares? Anyway, acting is crap. The camera work is shit. The writing makes absolutely no sense. The ending is completely nonsensical. The, the, the special effects range from okay to complete shit, and it's pretty much scene by scene basis on that. Because there are certain scenes which look really good, other ones look really shit. In fact, allow me to attempt to explain. From what I saw, it looks as if the bed feeds by essentially dissolving everything which it eats, which makes me think that the bed is kind of sort of like acid inside. In fact, a whole lot of the footage, especially when it's things like chicken bones or the fake hands in one shot or, the apple, all of that you can tell was just dunked in frickin' acid and they just film the acid slowly eating at it, which looks really cool. Now for people, it's a little bit of a different case. They actually they basically just toss them into water, which is colored the same color as the acid, and just have them just kind of sort of have them kind of sort of like writhe around. Looked really good until one of the actresses pressed her hands firmly against the glass that was separating them and the camera. It kind of sort of kills the whole feeling. However, that actually is the sort of thing that you kind of expect to see in a B film. In fact, I will say that that there actually are certain cases where wow, I actually am really fighting off yawning now. There are a lot of cases where we have, effects or acting or just, like basic scenes, which are just so horribly done, which you almost have to laugh at. And if this film had more of that, I would highly recommend it, but I can't because the number of actually funny scenes are far too few, and it's not worth sitting for the hour and 17 minutes to actually get through it all. There really is no reason to watch this unless you're really curious exactly how bad a film can look from the 1970s, late 1970s. Now, earlier I mentioned a piece of music from Faces of Death, and there actually are a couple of other songs in there. I was able to identify at least two pieces of music which were used in Faces of Death. Technically a third, except the version that was used in Faces of Death was actually sped up, and the tone of it was much, much deeper. It actually was a much lower tone. So my theory is that the person who composed the music for one probably composed music for both, or both films were taking from the same library of music. I don't know. I really don't know, and frankly, I don't care. It actually was kind of different, though. The fact that I'm watching it and I'm able to identify not only pieces of music, but oftentimes the scene from Faces of Death where the music was used. That's how many times I've seen Faces of Death, for those of you who are sort of curious. Wow. I really am trying to think if there's any way that this film could have been saved. Well, perhaps maybe if you would have gotten in a screenwriter who knew what the hell he was talking, or knew what the hell he was doing, could actually have written a decent story about a bed that eats people, that would probably have worked. If you would have had actors who could actually act, actors who could carry any sort of a performance, I would maybe be able to grant you a little something there. However, none of that is present here. We have a film which by all rights should not be allowed to exist. This movie is probably some of the worst I have ever seen. mind you, some of. This thing is nowhere near the level of things such as August Underground's Mortem, or Slaughtered Vomit Dolls, or the Doom Generation. No, it is nowhere near those. But this thing is just so fucking boring. You guys can tell because fucking A, I have been yawning and fighting off yawning ever since I shut off the movie. Which doesn't happen. That is really like the weird part here. The film is just horrible. It really is. But hey, if you guys really want to see how bad a film can be, you know, and just how much of a wasted opportunity you can get with a premise as cool as a man-eating bed, then by all means. You can probably find a copy of Deathbed on YouTube. You might be able to find a copy on you know, like Netflix or Hulu. You might be able to find it at a BitTorrent site, or if you're really desperate, you can buy it on DVD. But I really wouldn't recommend that, because I would find that to be a huge waste of money. This episode probably kind of sucked because, goddammit, the movie gave me nothing to work with. I am so bored with it. I'm sitting here yawning and fighting off even more yawns. So I'm just going to stop now before I happen to put all of my viewers to sleep. All right, guys. Oh my God, this thing is just so fucking bad. Okay. With that, oh, by the way, guys, and the next episode, it should be kind of promising. I'm looking at what I have scheduled here. Looks like it might be a pretty damned good film. So, or it will be a colossal turd, and I'm going to hope that it is at least a fucking turd I can use, because this thing just gave me absolutely fuck all to work with. So, guys, with that, we come to the close of this episode of Reaction and Review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.